Hi, everyone. So this is going to be for, here's a learning target. I will learn how to divide polynomials using the box method and long division. All right, and you know you'll be successful. So you know you understand if you can divide polynomials using the box method and long division. All right, so we had started off with this do now right here. This box was all blank, remember, and we just had the v plus 9 on the left, and the top was, again, blank as well. All right, we do know that it does have to equal up, this whole thing has to equal up to 2v to the fourth plus 28v cubed plus 98v squared plus 78v plus 54. Now, if you guys can remember we're going to set that aside just a second. We're going to go to this part right over here on the right-hand side. So if you guys remember the box method before, the x plus 1 times x plus 2, when we something like that. Remember, we put the x plus 1 on the left, x plus 2 on the top. How do we get the inside? It's like the area model, right? So we're just basically length times width, right? So this x times this x is this x squared, okay? And the way we get the bottom one is the x times 1, which is x. And over here, we got x times 2, which is 2x. And then the way we get this bottom right-hand corner is 1 times 2, which is 2. And so remember, we combine like terms, so x squared, and then these two, do you see the purple? Those are common like terms. And so with 2x plus x, we say 3x, right? And that's our plus 2, right? And it's a very similar thing, except a little bit elongated now, right? And the way we get the 2v to the fourth is just, it's going to be this upper right left-hand corner. And the way we get this 28v cubed is that these two right here, do you see the dotted lines? Those two are going to be what do we call it? Are like terms. So they have to add up to 28v cubed. Okay, and same with this diagonal. That diagonal has to add up to 98v squared. And same with this one is 6v plus these two squares have to add up to 78v. And that last one is just that last bit right there. Okay, so this is what we did. And the way we got that was we asked ourselves, well, actually, let me just rewrite it over here. Let's just do it again. So this one was 4. And so we did like this diagonal, and this was going to be 2v to the fourth. So yes, if you did not do this in class, feel free to do it now. Plus 28v cubed, or if you weren't in class, feel free to do it now. Plus 98v, and this is going to be plus 78v. The last one is going to be plus 54. All right. Oh, we also know that this is v plus 9. This is like a puzzle. We're going to use our reasoning. We're going to use our, like, and don't peek over there because that's not a thing, or there, wherever it's located. I think I'm on the upper right-hand corner. And so if we look right here, we know that this first term, this first box right here is this first term. So if we know that this is 2v to the fourth and it multiplies to 2v to the fourth, how do we get that? We know this is v, so one side is v. We can't change that. So what do we multiply by? Well, I need a 2, right? And if I go just 2 times v, that's 2v. I still need 3 more v's. So it's going to be, I'm going to add, I'm going to put in 3 more v's like that. So 2v cubed. So 2v cubed times v is 2v to the fourth power. So far, so good. So now we're going to go, well, now that I know that side, now I know I could figure out the bottom box, right? So it's going to be 2v cubed times 9, which is going to be 18v cubed. All right, so far so good. So now once we got that, we do know that these two diagonals, do you see the diagonals right here? The dot, follow the dotted line, the dotted line, right? It's like follow the yellow brick road, follow the dotted line. All right, and it has to add up to 28v cubed. Right now we have 18 of them. We just need how many more to get to 28? Well, like 10. So that's how we get 10v cubed, right? Because 18 plus 10 is going to give you that 28. Remember, this has to also be v cubed because they have to be like terms. This was v squared. We would not be able to add them. We'll never get 28v squared cubed, okay? So they have to be like terms. Now, knowing this, just like how we did before, we know that this side is v, so we know the top part has to be what? 10v squared. So 10v squared times v would be 10v cubed, right? And now knowing this, do you see how it was like we can reason this out? Now knowing that, we can figure out what this box is, right? It's just 10 times 9. which is 90, and then the v squared, right? Because c squared. And then again, we're going to go where you have the dotted lines. We're going to follow the dotted line. So 90v squared plus something is going to give us that what is this? 98v. I forgot to write the square, sorry. See, right here, I wrote a square there. I just forgot to write it over here. And that's how you can check. You're like, oh, I made a mistake. This is how you know. All right, so that has to be 8v squared, right? Because 90 plus 8 is that 98. All right, and then we already have a v here. So v times what? So that's going to be 8v. So 8v times v is 8v squared. All right, now we know the bottom, right? 8v times 9, 72v. All right, do you see how fun this is? This is very fun. Now 72v plus something is going to give us 78v, right? And that would have to be 6v because 72 plus 6 is 78. All right, and now we already have the v and all we just need is the 6 now. 6 times v is 6v. Okay, so that's good. And 6 times 9 is 54. And will I 54? Yep, adds up to 54. There we go. So this is going to be, so the way we write this as a polynomial is if there's a positive, then it's just, we consider that to be a plus. So it's 2v cubed plus 10v squared plus 8v plus 6, right? And I color coordinated it because it looks better. That's what we do. This is literally the box method. We're already done with the polynomial, dividing polynomials with the box method. We're done, check. Right? We probably want to do it a couple more times just to make sure we got that right, right? But basically, this is what we were dividing. We're dividing 2v to the 4th plus 28v cubed plus 98v squared plus 78v plus 54. And all of this, what are we dividing it by? We're dividing it by v plus 9. And if we don't put any parentheses in there, what literally it is just like dividing this whole polynomial by just v, and then we're adding 9 to it. That's not what we want. We want to make sure we put the whole parentheses around that so we can say, yes, this polynomial divided by this other polynomial. Okay? So I'm going to actually show you right now the long division way because I didn't do that in class, but I will. I will, just as a brief reminder, this long division way is the same thing as the long division that you learned in elementary school, which you may or may not have forgotten. This is an example. So let's just brush up on that. So in elementary school, we said that we put the 3 on the outside, and then we just do this dividing thing and put 2, 6, 5, 4, 3 there. All right, so then what did we do? We first divided, right? So 3 goes into 2, no times. So we got to go, 3 goes into 26. How many times? And we're like, 8, right? And then what did we do? We multiplied. So 8 times 3 is 24. And then we subtract. So it's going to be 2, bring down the 5. Do we bring them all down? No, just bring down the 5. So 3 goes into 25. How many times? Still 8 times. So that's 24. I have to write a little bit smaller. And that's going to be 1, bring down the 4. Right? So we repeat this. We keep on going until we run out of things to do, right? So 3 goes into 14. How many times? 4 times. That's 12. And that's going to be 2. Bring down the 3. So 3 goes into 23. How many times? 7 times. So 3 times 7 is 21. Subtract. That's going to be 2. And normally we would put, remainder 2. Well, when you first learn it. Later on, you would learn to, put the decimal place and then, bring down the 0, and you keep on going until it stops, or unless you notice that it keeps on repeating, right? And so in this case, we're going to just write this as a not as a decimal, as a fraction. So instead of saying remainder 2, what we can say is 2/3, just like how you see over here. You see the answer, I already did it. All right, so we're going to use this process. So remember what our process was, right? First, we divided. Then what did we do? So that's how we got to 8. Then how did we get to 24? We multiplied. So this is what we do next. And then what do? We subtracted. And then what do we do? Once we subtracted, we brought down. We brought down the 5, so bring down. And then what do? Do it all over again. You just keep on going through the cycle until you have no more things to bring down, right? That's what we're going to do today. That's literally what we're going to do today. So we're going to take this guy right here that we know. we're going to take this, what's her, wondering if we could go like, we'll go like this maybe. So maybe we could see a parallel with this box method and with our division. So I'm going to go v plus 9, and we're going to divide that. And it's going to be, oh, right here, 2v or not 2v? 28v cubed plus 98v squared plus 78v plus 54. That's over at the very end there. All right, so let's try this out. So we're going to ask ourselves the same question as we did for the box method. V times what will give me a v to the 2v to the fourth power? We already know the answer to that because we already figured it out. It's 2v to the third power, right? And the same thing, so we're going to write 2v to the third power. Okay, so that's, so I'm going to try and see if I could color coordinate these. So, oh, you totally can't see that. So we'll go yellow. So this guy right here is this guy right here. Do you see how it's the same thing? All right, then what are we going to do from here? Where's the orange? All right, so now we're going to, oh, we don't have our directions here. Let's get our directions. We're going to take this, oops, not that guy. We're going to take this guy and we're going to bring it right here. So we can kind of see what we're doing. Okay. So now, all right, now we're going to, we already divided, now we're going to multiply. So we're going to go 2v to the third power times v is 2v to the fourth power, right? And then we're going to, which is what we see, oh, and then 2v cubed times 9 is going to be plus 18v cubed. All right, so where do we see that? So I'm going to need another color here. So this 2v right here, 2v to the fourth, same thing. All right, and then we'll go purple or blue. Where did purple come from? This right here, that right here. Okay, do you see the similarities here? And then what are we going to do? Now we're going to, it says subtract, right? So I like to do this in a different color and go subtract, subtract, so that I can see that I've subtracted, because sometimes I get confused. I'm like, did I already subtract? Did I not subtract? And then it gets confusing. So this first term should cancel out. It should, right? It should be the same, right? These two are the same. Now we're going to subtract. So once we subtract, we are going to, says 28v cubed minus 18v cubed is going to be 10v cubed. Remember, this was the same question we asked ourselves. It was a little bit different. We said 18v plus what would give me 28v cubed, right? So that's the same thing. If you wanted to find out, you just subtract 28 minus 18, give you 10, right? So that's where that is. So that is the same thing. And then let me do this pink color. So this is right here. Okay. And then we're going to just keep on going. And then now we subtracted, now we bring down. So we're going to bring down the plus 98v squared. Okay. Do you see how this is very similar? Okay. Very similar to our, who knew long division was important in elementary school? Now you know why. You're like, well, I have a calculator. Well, this is why. All right. So the 98v squared, yep, that's this thing, what it's going to have to add up to. We're just bringing that down. So we're going to now multiply, and let me just use black because black is going to be easier to see when I highlight stuff. So we're going to ask ourselves the same question again. V times what will give me a 10v cubed? Notice we don't worry about these second terms right now. We're just worried about the first term. We're looking at this part right here. So we're saying, oh, well, that's just going to be 10v squared. So plus 10v squared. All right. Now, what are we going to do? We're going to multiply. So we just divided. Now we're going to multiply. So 10v squared times v is going to be 10v to the third power. 10v squared times 9 is going to be plus 90v squared. All right. Now, oh, you're probably wondering about the highlights. You're like, Miss Lee, what about the highlights? Okay, fine. Well, let's do highlights. So highlights, remember, are 10v squared. That was just this guy right up here. Right. And then what about, is that the same color as that? Yeah, that's the same thing. And then that's the same, it represents the same thing because we're multiplying them both. And then we're going to go with a different color. What about this 90? Where did this 90 come from? Remember, we multiplied it. I should just maybe make this the same color. because it's the same thing. We'll just go like this. Yeah, these two are the same thing. I know it doesn't look like the same color, but it is, right? Because we're still getting it by multiplying. And then let's go. What do we do? So now remember, we just finished multiplying, so we're going to subtract. So go boom, boom. So we're going to go 98 minus 90, which is going to be 8v squared. We're going to bring down the 78v. We're going to ask ourselves, if we start this over again, v times what will give us an 8v squared? Oh, is 8v, right? 8v times v is going to be 8v squared. These two should always be the same. If they're not the same, you did something wrong. You divided wrong. The whole intention is to have it to be the same. Because if it's not the same, that's not going to cancel out. And then what? Right? Then bad days. Right? 8v times 9 is going to be plus 72v. Right? We're just multiplied. So now we're going to subtract. We're going to go minus, minus. Right? Cancels out. Technically, these all cancel out, right? The first terms. And this is going to be 78 minus 72, which is going to be 6v. We still need to bring down, don't forget that plus 54. I am running out of rooms. Oh, I'm running out of room, so we better be done soon. So let me just move this over just a smidgen. Okay, so that's 6v plus 54. The good thing about computers is that I have unlimited paper, right? I could scroll to the right all the way, scroll down all the way. It doesn't matter. It'll just keep on giving me paper. So that's a good thing. If I had actual paper, I would run out of room. All right, so then here we go again. So v times what will give me a 6v? Like, oh, well, that's going to be 6. 6 times v is 6v. Yep, same. So that's good. 6 times 9 is going to be 54. And so remember, I have to subtract, so go minus, minus. And I end up with 0, which means I have no remainder. Happy days. Okay, so this is just my answer right here. Let me finish the highlights. The highlights were kind of bogging me down, so that's why I stopped doing it. So remember this plus 8 right here is this right here plus 8. And let's see what other colors I have. Let's do darker gray. Plus 6. That is this plus 6 right here. Right? And all the other stuff in the between. So like this 72, do you see it's 72 over here? They're all there. All the pieces are there, it just looks different. Okay, so this is more the algebraic way of doing it. This is a different, like more visual way of doing it. Either way is okay. If when you're planning on going to pre-cal, they're going to expect you to do it this way. And not a lot of teachers know the box method way. It's more of a recent thing, just so that you know. And so I want you to be familiar with the long division way because your teachers may ask you that, and I don't want you to be like, I never learned that from my Algebra 2 teacher, and then it's my fault, and then what, right? Okay, I'm just kidding. And then, so that's what we're gonna do. So those are the two ways. We're done. I'm just kidding. All right, so if you notice right here, we did a little bit of practice. What I would do is I would practice, do first the box method way and then the division way and see if you can, you're asking yourself the exact same kind of questions, okay? The only thing with the long division way, it's not conceptual, it's just algorithmic. It has as an algorithm, right? You just go, oh, divide, multiply, subtract, bring down. Why? You just do it. Like that's just what you do, right? Right, but with this one, it's more conceptual. You can understand why it is that way. Okay, so that's why I like the box method way, but just know also the long division way because it's gonna come up, right? I'm not gonna be the only one doing that. All right, and then I'm gonna erase this dude over here. And just go like this. Oh, okay, I don't want to erase this. Let's go like this. Good. We'll erase it, and now it's all good. So what we're going to do here, so instead of going over this one, I'm just going to go over number 2, okay, because I've already have all the work. This is all number 2 right here. So notice that these are the same answers. This is, oh, sorry, these are all number 1. So I'm going to put number 2 in its own section over here on the right, okay? So we're going to do the exact same thing. So the x plus 5 is going to go on the outside. Should we do the box method? Actually, let's do the box method first, and then we'll do division. Or no, let's do division first and then the box method, just why not? Because the long division is kind of more on my mind right now because we just kind of did it, right? So we're going to do that. X plus 5 divided by 3x cubed plus 24x squared plus 43 x, don't forget your x, minus 10. Okay, so please note that if you kind of get it, try and do it by yourself. Pause and try to do a thing by yourself. If not, then we'll just do it together. But really, it's much better for your brain if you try and figure it out yourself. It is definitely much better for your understanding. All right, so here we go. X goes into 3. I'm assuming you've finished it because you've now not pressed pause. You unpress pause, you press play. All right, so X goes into 3x cubed how many times? 3x squared times. So now we're going to multiply 3x squared times x, 3x cubed. 3x squared times 5. A lot of people forget this part and then, it gets messed up. So plus 15x squared. All right, now we're going to subtract. That cancels out. And what do I get? I get 24 minus 15, which is 9x squared. Right, and then we got to bring down. So plus 43x. All right, now I'm going to ask myself the same question again. X times what will give me 9x squared? Well, that's pretty easy. That's plus 9x. And then 9x times x is, again, 9x squared, which we knew, right? It should be the same because that's the whole premise of that question. So 9x times 5 is 45x. Now, what are we going to do? Subtract. All right, and then, yep, again, first terms cancel out, which is what it should do. And 43x minus 45x is minus 2x. We're going to bring down minus 10. All right, x times what will give me negative 2x? Well, negative 2. Right, negative 2 times x is negative 2x. Negative 2 times 5 is negative 10. Now I am going to have to subtract. In this case, it's already subtracting, so I'm done? No, right? It's the opposite. So if I'm subtract, if I take away a takeaway, I'm actually adding. So I just like to do it that way. All right, and then so again, my first terms cancel, and if you notice, my second terms also cancel. I just have 0. What does that mean? I have no remainders because I have nothing more to bring down. So this is just my answer. The one thing I like about long division is that I don't have to rewrite the equation, the expression. In the box method, you do. Plus minus. Okay, now let's try the box method way. Now let's go with our box. Let me change up the colors here. I'm going to go blue. And I'm going to make my box here. And how do you know how many? Okay, I know this says 2 because it's a binomial x plus 5. But how do you know how many columns there are? So what you do here is you count up the terms. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4. There are 4 terms, which means I'm going to do one less than that. So it's 3 columns. So I'm going to divide this into thirds. 1, 2, 3. Okay. Now remember our dotted lines? Follow the dotted line. This is going to be 3x to the third power. Second dotted line is going to be plus 24x squared. Third dotted line is going to be plus 43x. Fourth dotted line, minus 10. And if you haven't already, press pause. Do it yourself. All right, so now we're going to try a thing here. I know that my first term is going to be 3x cubed, right? That always goes there. First term always goes in the first box. All right, so then I ask myself, well, how do we get 3x cubed? What if I just have x? Well, I need a 3 and x squared, right? And knowing that leads me to this answer right here. So 5 times 3x squared is 15x squared. Now, when we follow the lines, follow the dotted line, that means we're adding, right? 15 plus what is going to give me 24? Well, it has to be 9. So this give me 9x squared. Or you could just subtract it. That'll work too. So then 9, so how do I get, if I have x times what was 9x squared? 9x, right? When x is just x with no coefficient, it's so much easier. So 9x times 5 is 45x. Don't worry, it won't last long. And then we're going to go with the next one. X times what will give me, oh, whoa. I just like jumped a step there. And I noticed that because I was like, I don't know because there's nothing here. How do we get that thing? We have to add them up. So 45x plus what is going to give me a 43? Well, this can't be a plus, actually, well, maybe a negative, plus negative. So negative what? 2x, right? That's going to give me a 43x. So then how do I get a negative 2? I'm like, oh, I remember doing this. I did it right here, remember? So it's just going to be negative 2. Negative 2 times 5 is going to be negative 10. And again, oh, look, it's the same. Yay. There will be a time when there's not the same, and we'll find out. And we're going to, that's the next thing we're going to do. All right, so that's going to be, we're not done yet. We need to write our answer out. So it's going to be 3x squared plus 9x minus 2. Boom, 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 boom. Just like how it was up there. We got 2 different answers. All right, so again, for this one, we did number 3. The only thing to take notice is that the ends, notice this n to the 4th, n to the 3rd, and then it jumps, it skips n squared, and it goes to n, right? And that's not good. Like you need the n squared as a placeholder, but we can't just put n squared because that means we just change the expression. So how do we just add no n squares, right? Just go 0 n squared. And then, so if we're adding 0, we're not actually changing the value of it. We're just changing the way it looks, right? Like makeup. All right, so it's just 0 n squared. And so you do need to put place markers in there. Is that a place marker? Okay, now I can't remember. I'm tired. So you are going to have to, placeholder. That's what I was saying. We need a placeholder there. Okay, and if you notice right here, it does get a little weird, right? So notice first term is going to be 8n to the 4th power, and this part starts well enough, right? So this is going to be n to the 3rd power, and then we know that this is going to be 7 times n to the 3rd power, which is 7n cubed. But then we ask ourselves, well, what 7n cubed plus what will give me 7n cubed? We're like, well, 0. So we put in 0. I'm putting in my exponents just so that we can keep track of where we're at with exponents, because then it gets kind of confusing. So then this would be 8n times what will give me a 0n to the 3rd power? Well, it had to be 0n to the 2nd power, right? Because we only have 1 n here, so we need to have 2 more n's here. We have to have none of them, 0. Right, so and then you do the same thing, and then 0 n squared times 7 is going to be 0 n squared, or normally we would just write down 0, but we're just trying to keep track of our exponents here. And then 0 n squared plus what will give me a 0 n squared? Well, you're like 0 n squared. Good job. And then so 8n times what will give me a 0 n squared? 0 n. This time we put n because we already have an n. We just need one more n. Okay, so far it's 0 n. 0 n times 7 is, again, 0 n. And that's not on, that's 0 n. That's why I put a little line there. And then, okay, it's finally going to get a little more interesting. So 0 n plus what will give me an 8n? 8n. Okay, now you have to ask yourself a question. 8n times what will give me an 8n? Don't say 0. A lot of people will say 0, but it's not 0. It's 1. Because 8n times 1 is 8n. And you're like, oh, yeah, duh. Okay. Then we're going to go 1 times 7 is 7. And if you notice, 7 is not the same thing as 8. I know, mind-blowing. So what we're going to have to do is going to have to do this imaginary 1 here, right? Not invisible 1, not imaginary, invisible 1, right? And that's going to be where our remainder is. Like that's the leftovers, right? So that's the 1 here. And just like how we did before with our problem, where did it go? Okay, remember instead of saying remainder 2, we said that was 2 over 3, and the 3 we got as from what we're dividing by. It's the same thing here. Oh, shoot. Let's go right here. So it's going to be 1 because our remainder is 1, and it's going to be over 8n plus 7. So these two are the same. That's why I highlighted them. All right. And we would do the same thing with long division. And if you haven't tried that, try it right now. And if you notice, so we ask ourselves the exact same question. 8n times what will give me 8n to the 4th power? We're like 8n to the 3rd power. Okay, good. And then we multiply them out. So that's 8n to the 4th power. No big surprise there. That n cubed times 7 is 7n cubed. Subtract everything. And then you notice, wait, both of them cancel out, which is totally fine. Then you just bring down. You just keep on bringing down until, so we bring this down. We're like, we still have zeros. And what do we do? Okay, well, then we bring down more. So we bring down the 8n and then plus the 8 because we need to have a binomial. Okay. And then so we're going to ask ourselves now the question again, 8n times what will give you 8n? If you said 0 again, you did not learn. All right, it's just plus 1. And then 1 times 8n is 8n, and then 1 times 7 is 7. And then we subtract, and we notice our remainder is 1. How do we know this is a remainder? Because there's nothing more to bring down. So again, we're going to put that up here. That is going to be plus 1 over 8n plus 7. Okay? So we're going to try that one more. This was for your homework. What is this? This is not that problem. This is 7. Oh, this was number 6. We were just setting it up. So that was your homework. So go figure out a thing. But I'm going to just do number 4. Last one is number 4. I'm going to just do it over here on the right. So this is number 4. And we're getting, I have to, I can't read that. All right, so let's try this again. So we're going to use the box method this time. Why not? And I'll do long division as well. So this is going to be 10v plus 9. And then there is going to be, this is 1, 2, 3, 4 terms, which means there's going to be 3 columns. So divide this into thirds. And I have my dotted lines. So your dotted lines, it's going to say 8v. Just kidding. 80v. That makes a big difference. To the 4th power plus 72v cubed plus, now notice right here, I caught myself. Notice right here that we don't have, well, you want to find out what happens if we don't have that. Actually, for this one, maybe nothing will happen, but it doesn't always happen that way. But let's just try it. Let's just see what happens. Plus 100v plus 81, because sometimes it'll work and sometimes it won't. And you'll notice when it doesn't work because your exponents don't match up. Okay, so, but let's try it out because maybe for this one it will work. All right, so here we go. We're going to go 80v to the 4th. That's the thing that we know. Now let's use a different color. So 10v times what will be 80v to the 4th? Well, 10 times 8 is 80, and that's going to be v to the 3rd power. I like to think of them separately. The numbers with the numbers and the variables with the variables. Now we know this bottom one right here, 8 times 9 is 72. I still have v cubed. Now we're going to go adding. So 8v cubed is going to be, wait, we have 72v cubed plus what is going to be 72v cubed? Well, it has to be 0v cubed, right? Because that's not a thing. It's already 72. All right, so then we're going to go 10v times what will give me a 0v cubed? Or like we could say 10v squared. Ignore me. That's 0v squared, or right? And then 0v squared times 9 is going to be still 0v squared. Now 0v squared plus what will give me 100v? Do you see where it's wrong? Like, yeah, nothing. I can't because it's not literally not it. So this is why we have to add in the placeholder, or else it's not going to work out. I just wanted you guys to see that. Okay, so let's rewrite this part. So this is going to be the 0, our placeholder is 0v squared. And then we're going to add in our 100, so plus 100v, which means what do we have to do? Yes, we have to actually add in the box. My bad. Or did I do it on purpose so you would know? No one will ever know. This is the good thing about always making mistakes on purpose, is that you don't know. Nobody knows if I did it on purpose or not. Only I know. All right, and then so we're going to ask ourselves again. So 0v squared plus what is going to be 0v squared? Well, that's not hard. It's just 0v squared. All right, so 10v times what is 0v squared? 0v, right? And 0v times 9, 0v. Do you see how this is not that fun? It's just zeros, a whole bunch of zeros. But the confusing part, I think, is the exponents. But we just got to make sure we keep track of that. And then 0v plus what is 100v? Ooh, 100v, right? Well, now, see, now it finally got interesting. So 10v times what is 100v? We already got the v, so we just need a 10. So 10 times 10 is 100, right? 10 times 9 is 90. Ooh, this is not, that's 81. So we're going to actually have to add in this other box right here. This is the leftover box, the remainders. Outcasts. So 90 plus what is 81? We're like, well, it has to be negative, so it'd be negative 9. Okay, so the way we're going to write this, let's scroll down just a bit here. So the way we're going to write this is we're going to say 8v cubed. I don't need to put these in there because they're just 0, and just plus 10. And this is a minus, so I'm going to say minus 9 over 10v plus 9. Like this is the way you would write that. Don't put it, if you put it like this, that's going to be bad days. If you did it like that on your paper, you'd be like, yeah, I'm right. No, you're not. This is wrong. We don't do something. This looks like it's multiplying. Okay, so we don't do that. So we're going to put that back there. So it needs to look like this. It needs to look like a minus, or else it looks like you're multiplying things. And then what? That's not good. Okay, so there it is. That is going to be your answer. Now you're like, well, Miss Lee, can we try that with long division now? 100%. So let's do that with long division. Yay, happy days. So we're going to go like this. What was it? Okay, 80v to the 4th plus 72v cubed plus 0. We need our placeholder right there to make sure that, or should we just try it without it and see what happens? We might be able to get away with it, actually, for this one. We can't always get away with it. This is not always true. But let's just pretend. Let's just pretend that we didn't realize that, and let's see if it still works. Because sometimes, like this one, sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. Okay, but as we noticed for our box method, it didn't work out. And then on the outside is going to be 10v plus 9. So 10v times what is going to be 80v to the 4th? Like we already did this before, 80v cubed. 80v cubed times 10v, 8v cubed, not 80v cubed. 8v cubed times 10v cubed is 80 to the 4th power. 80v to the 4th power. Oh my goodness. Too many mistakes. Plus 72v cubed. Subtract, subtract. Notice they all cancel out. When they both cancel out, you don't really need a placeholder, okay? Because when you bring it down, you still need more, like, because it's still 0. So we can actually just get away with it on this one, because it happened to be that all of them, if the second term did not cancel out, you really need that placeholder, because you can't do it without it. It'll mess you up. You will not have like terms. It'll be bad days. Okay. So if this is going to be, what is this again? Oh yeah, bring down. So bring down 100v, bring down plus 81, and that is going to be plus 10, right? Because 10v times 10 is 10v, 100v, and then 10 times 9 is plus 90, right? But don't be like, oh, Miss Lee said we don't need placeholders. I said only in certain instances, but you won't know that until you actually do that. So always put in your placeholders. So that's negative and negative, which and our answer is then going to be, so this cancels out, this is going to be negative 9. Let me just put down minus 9 over 10v plus 9. Make sure that that 9 is just like that. And that's our answer. There we go. We'll go over 7 through 10 tomorrow, next time, whenever. Okay. And so we'll talk about that, but something to think about. Again, answers are right down here. This is all in the module, just as a PDF. So you can just click on the magnifying glass to see them. All right. Hope this was helpful to you guys. See you guys later.